I would like to thank you for your kindness to invite me to share with you some memories of Paul Brunton. I will call him PB because that was what he called himself. He was talking about himself in the third person, saying PB thinks, PB does, and so on. As soon as Birgitta, my wife, and I came to Montreux the first time, I called him up and asked, "Do you have some time for an interview?" "Come immediately," he said. There we stood outside his door, nervous. I had no idea what a sage is and what was going to happen inside that door. I felt like a schoolboy, and I had no idea that 30 years later I would sit here in Brazil and talk about Paul Brunton. After some hesitation, I rang the bell, and quickly the door was opened. There he was and greeted us welcome. I looked into his eyes. They radiated a love and compassion, wisdom and peace that cannot be described. I understood that PB, was far beyond the struggles of our species. He looked like an ordinary human being, but he wasn't. The peace around him was overwhelming. He wrote some lines about this peace, and I'd like to read these sentences now. "This peace is not to be confounded with lethargy and inertia, for it is a dynamic condition. It is the peace that comes after storm. It puts tormenting desires to rest. It brings the confused mind into surety. It heals the wounds caused by other people, by our own self, and by a harsh destiny." This quotation was written down by Birgitta years before the notebooks were published. She was spending hours at the library at Wisdom's Goldenrod. She took notes there of some quotations she especially liked. Inside his home, Birgitta and I felt that he was looking right through us. In just an instant, he knew the evolutionary status of the ego that I was identified with. He was aware of my mistakes through eons of time. Birgitta said afterwards that she would have liked to disappear under the doormat. We were crying through most of the night that followed, not because our miserable lives, but because of PB's tremendous love and compassion. When meeting him, I felt that nothing could hurt me. Death could not touch me. The first time we saw PB, we did not talk much. He served tea, delicious green Japanese tea. He explained that the Japanese green tea is better than the Chinese. The Chinese green tea is too strong to digest, he said. After some time there, I do not know how long, he started to play Beethoven's violin concerto on his old gramophone. In his presence, this was the most beautiful piece of music we have ever heard. I think he taught us there and then that classical music can be a very good help on the quest. So we have a good equipment for playing music at home, and we have no television. Martin, our mentally and physically retarded son, loves that music too, and we often listened to music together with him. When sunset was approaching, PB took us out on his balcony, and that evening there was a most heartbreaking sunset on Lake Geneva, and we stood there quiet looking at it till dusk came. Then P.B. commented that we should always take a chance to look at the sunset because of its very special spiritual quality. Drop whatever you are doing, he said. When it was time to say goodbye and farewell on this most important day in our lives, he asked us to take back the flowers that we had brought him. He said that he could not bear how to see life running out of them. We had given him cut flowers, but never again we have done that mistake. P.B. never did anything or said anything just as gossip. No. It was always a meaning, but often we did not understand the meaning until later. Okay, later. This first meeting with P.B. took place in 1975. And after that, we were privileged to see him 4 more times. 3 more times in Switzerland and 1 in the United States. Meeting him changed the courses of our lives completely. Before this, we were sleeping. We were dormant. Life before and life after meeting him are like 2 different reincarnations. He said once that even if we should deny him for the rest of our lives, he would appear at the time of our disincarnation and help us overcome the difficulties that may occur in that transmission. And that, he said, and this promise goes not only for us, for Birgitta and me, it goes for everyone who love him and what he stands for. So we are in good hands, all of us, and we should grieve no more.